She's on the ground.
Who is it?
This man has just been told that his wife is dead, murdered, but nothing could have prepared him for what came next. The person responded.
What happened?
Your wife and daughter got into an argument.
She's going to jail forever. Wife's dead. I was too.
Responsible wasn't a stranger. It wasn't an intruder. It was his own daughter. On March 3, 2020, police in Ohio responded to a frantic 911 call at a home in Akron. Inside the kitchen, they found Brenda Powell lying on the floor. She had been stabbed more than 30 times in the neck. Her daughter, Sydney Powell, was also inside the house. She told officers it was a violent home invasion, one that had suddenly turned into a brutal murder. Sydney claimed she had been injured too, but almost immediately investigators felt something was off. Too many details didn't add up. At the time of the attack, Brenda had been on the phone with one of Sydney's college.
This scream, combined with being called to the location, is enough probable cause for the police to forcefully enter the home. And this is what was waiting for him when he walked inside the house.
Akron Police!
Professors. In the middle of their conversation, Brenda suddenly began screaming. Then the call was cut out. When the professor tried calling back,
House.
Akron Police! Akron Police! Where's your mom at? Okay, stay right here.
No, there's so much blood. No, please.
Man!
She's
Grab her.
in
Take
the
her.
court now. No.
Stop!
We gotta figure out what's going on.
Can you sit down? R9, get that 32 rolling here quick. We got a female down, blood all over the place. Sorry to smart you, just got a crime scene. Take her outside. You got it. She's blood all over. I don't know if she's breathing. Secure the scene. She looks like a 22. She looks like she's been down for a while. There's blood all over the place. There's a knife by her head and stuff like that, and there's a huge pool of blood. No, I think she just walked in on it. There's a broken window in the back, so if you can just put up some crime scene tape. As soon as AFD gets here, they're going to pronounce.
someone answered, but the voice on the other end claimed to be Brenda. The problem was, the professor knew that wasn't true. He believed the person pretending to be Brenda.
Stop! Hold on, we gotta figure out what's going on. Come on. What is your name?
Sydney.
Was actually Sydney. Fearing the worst, he immediately called 911. First responders were dispatched, and they arrived within minutes. That scream, combined with the emergency call, gave police more than enough probable cause to
Lock down the crime scene and try to figure out exactly what's happened.
The back window's broken in.
So you're gonna have to.
Daddy.
Inside there. So.
I don't know.
force their way inside the house. They didn't hesitate, and what greeted them when they stepped through the door was something no one was prepared to see. It quickly became clear that Brenda Powell had not only been stabbed, she had also been struck in the head with a heavy iron skillet. The injuries were catastrophic, so severe that
Interesting.
Somewhere that's not you.
Okay, do we know who, where, which way?
That is the younger guy. I'm looking through here and I can see pictures. And there's a whole basement set up for what looks like.
Yep, hey, sorry, I'll call you right back. Bye. All right, let me go report that.
Yeah, there's got a man. It's probably her brother.
Well, I'll see if we can find that.
in those moments, it wasn't even clear if she was going to survive. Sydney Powell appeared injured as well. She was in shock, visibly shaken, barely able to keep herself together. Even when her father...
Do you live here, sir?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my wife and there's my daughter.
Okay, how old's your daughter?
She'll be 20 in March. She's 19. Is she coming out?
Yeah. No, not yet, sir. Just can't hang out.
Sydney, can you tell me what happened? Huh? Sydney. Sydney.
On its way?
Yeah, it's coming.
From where?
Yeah, that's them right there. I can hear them.
I have a female hair.
Steve Powell arrived at the scene. It did nothing to calm her down. With emotions running high and questions piling up, police moved quickly. The house was locked down as a crime scene, while investigators began the urgent task of figuring out exactly what had happened inside those walls. Inside the house, investigators found what looked like...
Where'd you get a call from?
Yeah. Got a call from him, call from me.
Oh, okay.
He said there was a call, went out, a distress call from the University of Mount Union where my daughter was going, and said, female in distress. I said, well, that's funny because Brenda's there, my wife. So I called Brenda, and it rings on the cell phone, no answer. I call Sydney back, rings, no answer. I call Brenda back, ring, no answer. I'm pacing around. I call Chief back, and as I'm on the phone with him, telling him there's no answer, my doctor calls me back. He said, oh, Mom's on the phone with Mount Union. I said, well, cops are on the way. And she went, there's been a break-in, and she just started going off. She said, what? She said, there's been somebody broke into the house. There's blood everywhere. She was hysterical and crying.
So at first, when you talked to her, she said that your wife was on the phone with Mount Union.
Yes.
And
As soon as I said, cops are on the way, the hysterics started.
Is she still attending Mount Union?
Well, as far as we knew up until today, yes, but apparently not for the last...
signs of a break-in, a shattered window, and the knife used to stab Brenda Powell. At first glance, it supported the home invasion story. But a closer look raised serious...
dorm.
Now, we understand that Sydney was your roommate at Mount Union?
Yes, she was for last year and then this year until she left.
And so you've been friends ever since your freshman year at St. B?
Mm-hmm.
Go over each other's houses, everything like that?
Yep. Well, she started off in exercise science freshman year, her first semester. But then she didn't like the classes, so she switched over to psychology and sociology. But then she didn't really like that, so this year she switched to education, and then she didn't like that either, and that's one of the reasons she left, is because she really couldn't find what she liked. I think she struggled in her classes. I don't think her grades were the best, but she didn't really tell me that because I wasn't really struggling. I think she kept a lot of stuff hidden because when we were just talking or with our friends, she always seemed happy. Like, she seemed okay, like I said, I couldn't tell until the end where she was kind of just like struggling and she kind of was sad and just like, Lauren, I don't know what to do. I think she felt like everybody around her kind of had figured out what they wanted.
Doubts. Blood was dripping down the outside of the broken window. That detail mattered. It suggested the glass had been shattered after Brenda was already bleeding, not before. That directly contradicted Sydney Powell's account. She claimed the intruder had broken the window to get inside before the attack ever happened. It was the first clear inconsistency in her story.
Well, I know she's had anxiety for a while, but I think it was this last semester, like starting coming back in January, when it really started, that she was kind of more like upset because she really didn't know what she wanted to do. My friends and I were worried for her because we didn't know what was going on.
And it wouldn't be the last. With a case this serious and so many unanswered questions, officers began canvassing the neighborhood. They spoke with nearby homeowners, hoping someone...
I could tell she was getting more upset, like more sad. And I told her, I was like, I'm here, like, you can tell me, I'm here for you. If you need anything, I'm here. But she never really opened up until she was leaving and saying that she was struggling with school and that she was kind of trying to figure out what was going on. And that's when I started to try to help her.
Let's talk about this. You're her best friend, and I know this is difficult, but tell us about her relationship with her parents.
Her and her parents had a really good relationship. Like, her mom and her were best friends. Probably, like, they did everything together. Like, one of the reasons she went home was to be with her mom. They were always close. She never said anything bad about her mom. She never ever talked about having an argument with her mom. Like, I can't recall every time she'd be going home, she's like, I can't wait to see my mom. Or when she goes home for weekends, she'd be like, oh, my mom wants me to come home so we can hang out and like watch movies. And she loved.
Had seen or heard something that could help piece the timeline together. But as the investigation unfolded, there was one striking detail amid the chaos and confusion. The only person giving clear, consistent answers.
What's going on? Are you not going to school? She goes, I'm overwhelmed in school, and I don't really like what I'm doing, and it seems like it's a waste of my time and your money. I said, well, but that's all part of it. Nobody's going to tell you you need to do what you're doing when you're 20.
Was Steve Powell, Sydney's father.
When she's talking to you about, the problems she's having at school, did she mention that she tried talking to her parents?
Yeah, I know she definitely, especially when she left, she talked to her mom about leaving. They kind of made that decision together to leave Mount.
As detectives tried to piece everything together, they brought Steve Powell to the station, along with one of Sydney Powell's friends. They were hoping someone could help fill in the gaps and make sense of what happened inside the house. But tragically, Steve was completely in the dark.
So I went back, I called my wife on my daughter's phone. She picks up, she was working down in Children's. And she goes, what's wrong? And I basically told her, I said, Sydney, I think the reason we can't get on is...
He had no idea that his own daughter was the attacker. And even worse, he didn't yet know just how critical his wife's condition really was. Brenda Powell was fighting for her life at the hospital, and doctors weren't optimistic she would survive. It was infamous.
We asked her what she was doing, and she said she was good. Like, she acted like what we would see as normal. Like, she was laughing, she was having fun. She said she got jobs because she works at the Akron Rubber Ducks. She's worked there for a couple seasons, so she was gonna go back there. And then she also said she was looking for another job, and like everything was good, and she was trying to figure out like for next year and all this stuff. And she was gonna talk to her parents about housing, trying to come back to Mount.
Once she got to Mount Union, or anytime actually, did Sydney ever drink alcohol at all, or she did? Mm-hmm. Okay, just kind of describe that for us.
She liked to drink. There was an incident in the fall of our freshman year where she drank too much, and she wasn't alcohol poisoned, but she did end up in the hospital. Her mom came and got her at like 2 in the morning. Usually after that, her and I were together, and if she did drink, I usually kind of like slow her down after I'm kind of her limit, because she's...
Detectives knew they couldn't keep from him much longer. What Sydney Powell never told her parents was the truth. She had been kicked out of college weeks before any of this happened. Since then, she's been lying to them, pretending everything was normal. But she did tell her friends, including Lauren, who lived in the same dorm and knew what Sydney was really dealing with behind the scenes. Understand tracks.
Were you able to go in the house at all?
I made it in far enough to see the back finish. When you go into the front door, you come around the kitchen, you go in, you can see there's like a pass-through between the kitchen and the family room. From the back of the house, I could see the right hand, there's 2 big sliding windows. I could see that window was clearly, it looked like it was busted. Went down the hallway probably about 2 feet, just didn't see blood all the way.
Ending Sydney Powell's state of mind in the days leading up to the attack became a key focus for investigators. It would help determine whether this was a sudden snap or something carefully planned. But Sydney had a strategy. She claimed she had
was dead.
Well, not really bad news. Your wife passed away.
No memory of what happened at all. According to her, she blacked out during the incident. That claim would become the foundation of her defense, with hints toward insanity as well. The problem was, this left detectives without direct proof tying her.
What happened?
I don't think someone broke into the house I don't know if your wife and daughter got into an argument, got physical. I mean, the window was broken, but there's no forced entry into the house. Did your wife and daughter ever have like really heated arguments? No. This is not possible. Your son's outside. He doesn't know what's going on.
My son's here?
Yes.
Would you like one of us to just go be with your son?
I don't know. I don't know.
Take your time.
The attack, at least for now. Still, as the investigation continued, one thing became clear. Sydney had been hiding major secrets from nearly everyone in her life. Lauren could tell something wasn't right.
Clearly they think Sydney did this. I lost 2. She's going to jail forever. Wife's dead.
You know, they're going to do everything they can to make sure that they find out exactly what happened. Nothing's definite as of yet. They still have to do their investigating.
Where's Andrew? He just sit out there by himself, or is he with?
Would you go when there's less people?
Well, yeah, I don't want anybody in here with me when I talk to him. I don't want anybody. I just want me and him. That's legal. I don't care.
Yeah, you don't want any of us?
I don't want any of you. No, I just want Andrew.
You just come ahead
Yeah,
when you're ready,
I will.
okay?
You want me to do it? I don't know. They don't know. They haven't told me. They're investigating.
Sydney was arrested and charged for the murder of Brenda Powell.
Right, and she tried to help. At first, she had no reason to doubt Sydney Powell. She stood by her, offering support the way any close friend would during a crisis like this. But as time went by, even Lauren began to notice the cracks. Sydney's answers were vague. Her behavior was evasive, and slowly the doubts started to grow. By this point, Sydney Powell was completely tangled in a lie she could no longer escape. But instead of coming clean, she doubled down. She framed it as a personal choice, claiming college wasn't working out for her. She even tried to spin it as a smart financial decision, suggesting her parents could save thousands in tuition if she left school to pursue other opportunities. But in reality, the truth was already closing in on her. But that's not the story she told her friends. Lauren's suspicions turned out to be right. Sydney Powell hadn't just been lying to her friends, she was lying to her parents too. Steve Powell and Brenda Powell had no idea their daughter was struggling at college. That illusion was shattered when they received an unexpected phone call from one of Sydney's professors. Suddenly, everything changed. Steve and Brenda were forced into crisis talks, trying to understand what was really happening with their daughter and just how much she had been hiding from them. Sydney Powell was now trapped between 2 separate lies: the version she told her friends and the version she fed her parents. Each one pulled her deeper until there was no easy way out. Falling grades on their own aren't the end of the world. Most parents would rally around their child and help them through something like that. But Sydney seemed convinced her parents would be furious. And so she never told them the truth, that she hadn't just struggled in college, she had been asked to leave. Detectives believe Sydney Powell snapped at that moment, when Brenda Powell was on the phone with her college professor, faced with the risk that her lies were about to be exposed. Investigators think Sydney made a desperate decision to silence her mother permanently. Sydney, however, claimed she couldn't remember any of it. According to her, everything went blank, but detectives weren't convinced. Because despite that claim, she made a series of critical and careless mistakes that allowed them to reconstruct what really happened. Investigators believe Sydney grabbed an iron skillet and struck her mother, overpowering her. Then she used a steak knife, stabbing Brenda in the neck more than 30 times. After the attack, she allegedly tried to cover it all up. impersonating her mother on the phone, and staging a fake break-in to make it look like an intruder was responsible. Those actions, detectives say, told a very different story than the one Sydney was trying to sell. Sadly, Brenda Powell didn't survive her injuries. She passed away in the hospital not long after the attack. The county medical examiner later confirmed the cause of death: severe blunt force trauma to the head, combined with multiple stab wounds to the neck. Her death was officially ruled a homicide. With that determination made, detectives were left with one of the hardest tasks of all: delivering the devastating news to Steve Powell that his wife was gone. Detectives thoroughly investigated Sydney Powell's claim that an intruder was responsible, but the more they dug into it, the less her story held up. The physical evidence, the timeline, and the inconsistencies all pointed in a completely different direction. That his wife, Brenda Powell, wasn't killed by an intruder. She was killed by their own daughter. It's almost impossible to imagine the turmoil Steve Powell was facing at that moment. His wife had been murdered, and now his own daughter was the prime suspect. At first, the reality was too much to accept. But as detectives laid out the evidence, it slowly sank in. Steve began to realize they might be right. And with that realization came another unbearable responsibility. He now had to do the unthinkable: break the news to his son. Sydney Powell was arrested and formally charged with the murder of Brenda Powell. From the start, she claimed insanity, insisting she had little to no memory of what happened. She said she couldn't recall striking her mother with a cast-iron skillet or stabbing her repeatedly. But the injury wasn't convinced. The evidence told a far clearer story than Sydney ever did. In the end, she was found guilty on all charges: 2 counts of murder, 1 count of felonious assault, and 1 count of tampering with evidence. Sydney Powell was sentenced to life in prison, with the possibility of parole after 15 years, bringing a tragic and devastating case to its legal conclusion.